Tonight, a dangerous superstorm cell hits the southeast, causing widespread damage in Brisbane. Buildings flooded, cars stranded, markets destroyed on a wild Saturday. Jerusalem under fire as the Middle East edges closer to war. And schoolies pack the Gold Coast for a week of celebrations.
This is 7 News with Sharon Gadalla.
Good evening. Brisbane has been thumped by a severe superstorm cell, packing destructive winds and heavy rain causing flash flooding. Tonight, the southeast remains at the mercy of the storms. A second wave is now heading for the coast, having hit the Darling Downs a short time ago. A warning has just been issued of the possibility of softball-sized hail in the Downs. One dangerous cell is heading northeast towards the Bunya Mountains, bringing strong winds, large hail and lightning. Residents are being urged to take precautions. Another line of storms will follow, arriving in the southeast later tonight. Earlier today, Brisbane suffered a direct hit from the first electrical storm, which damaged buildings, swamped cars and felled trees and power lines. It was over within minutes, but the trail of destruction from the storm supercell will come with a hefty repair bill.
It arrived suddenly, turning day to night, plunging South Bank and Brisbane City into darkness and creating turmoil on the streets. People found cover where they could and tried not to be swept away.
There was all the glass shattering and the lamps going off. It was crazy.
Water gushed through the ceiling at the Rendezvous Hotel.
Then a short bit of plaster fell and then the whole roof just caved in.
At the airport, planes were grounded for 30 minutes as wind gusted at 90 kilometres an hour. Emergency resources were stretched to the limit.
We had multiple alarms activating.
Possible lightning strike to building.
The SES had 73 call-outs. Fire crews didn't stop.
People are going from job to job to job.
30 millimetres of rain fell at Toowong in just 15 minutes, pouring into homes.
There was the water everywhere.
Stormwater drains couldn't cope at Bowen Hills.
It was like a volcano, it was everywhere.
Alexandra Street became a river. At least 20 parked cars were swamped.
Every man loves their ute, so I have to go out and buy another one now.
More than 4,000 lightning strikes were recorded. One of them struck a crane at a construction site at Ipswich Hospital.
We had this big bang and this big flash.
Terrified workers made a hasty retreat from scaffolding.
Too much lightning, scary experience, but the main thing, no one was hurt.
Almost 9,000 homes across the southeast lost power, while fallen trees and branches blocked roads in the inner suburbs. More than 100 power lines were brought down.
Keep your kids away. It might be exciting to see it, take photos, but be aware of what's going on around you.
A tree speared through the roof of a prep classroom at Windsor State School. Computers and students' artwork were destroyed.
Oh, thank God it's a weekend, that's all I can say.
This fallen gum tree tore up a yard, fence and very nearly a house at Milton.
Yeah, amazing to watch.
On Albert Terrace, giant old figs crumpled cars. This man was sleeping in his station wagon at Spring Hill when he got a sudden wake-up call and a very close shave.
The wind was so strong, I was actually moving the car even before the branch hit.
The Kelvin Grove markets were torn apart. Stalls were destroyed as their owners tried to salvage their product.
Oh, it just come through like a tornado.
There were similar scenes at the Victoria Park Golf Club. A window smashed 8 stories up at the new Supreme Court complex, showering glass onto the road below. Clean-up efforts got underway quickly, but according to forecasters, it's not over yet.
It really is just a sign of things to come. We still have very unstable conditions in place.
It's likely to be a stormy summer ahead.
Oh, am I going to have a drink now, at the pub?
Sally Eels, 7 News.
And now for more details on the damage, we cross to Mike Shapland, Regional Director of Emergency Management Queensland at Kedron. Well, Mike, bring us up to date. What areas have been worst affected?
Sure, well really it is those areas of the city you've been covering. We've got most of our jobs in Fortitude Valley, Kelvin Grove, Wilston and Wooloowin really. We've got something like 56 that were being responded to with 45 people out right now.
So is that the only calls you've had for help or have you had more than the number you mentioned there?
Now, overall, across the southeast, we've had about 84 calls for help so far, and the vast majority of those are in the Brisbane area.
And Mike, how worried are you about the prospect of further damage tonight? We hear more storms are on the way.
Sure, well look, this is the storm season. The Bureau have been forecasting this for today. We're always going to get some damage. The SES volunteers are always ready to help. And so it's a standard summer for Brisbane.
So what's your advice then to people as far as preparations go for tonight?
Well, look, if you're worried about anything that's to do with safety, really take precautions about that. If it's power lines down, call Energex. For those people who are waiting for the SES, they are volunteers, but they will come. And of course, do everything you can to prepare your house in the ways that we have been saying for some time. Have a plan, check your yard, and tune into warnings.
All right, Mike, thank you very much for bringing us up to date there. So with the southeast bracing for that possible second wave of storms this evening, Angie Asimus joins us with the latest on this developing system.
Well, Sharon, the first round this morning was a squall line, which means multiple cells tracking together. They started building in the west and travelled right over the CBD at about 50 kilometres an hour. Here you can see their speed, and it was too quick for any rainfall totals above 30 millimetres. Wind gusts up to 81 kilometres an hour were the biggest problem. Right now, though, another system is building. This live radar picture shows the path of a supercell moving towards us from the Darling Downs. At this stage, it's tracking northeast, and supercells are the most intense parts of a storm and can last for several hours. Now, conditions are ideal for that kind of activity. We've had humid northerly air providing the moisture. When that hit a southerly change today, storm cells began to form along a surface trough, and they were made more intense due to a layer of cooler air above, which created a very strong updraft. And Sharon, I'll have more details in weather shortly, including a stormy outlook for tomorrow.
All right, Angie, thanks for that. In other news, the situation